Welcome to episode 28 of the Wiley Wire. Today we're going to cover Ilhan Omar, fraud in Minnesota, Nick Shirley Act, why are the California politicians so against this kid? I think you need to read between the lines. We're going to talk about the Las Vegas sports market and how it's become one of the biggest in the country. A hero teacher becomes the prom king. In other trending news, welcome to the Wiley Wire. Wednesday night is the deadline for Iran to agree to a deal. President Trump did say, even though he doesn't want to do this, if talks go really well and Iran decides to agree to a deal, he'll extend the time to finish the deal. So at this point, the ball's in Iran's court. You really don't know what to believe. Everything that comes out of their side is that there is no deal. They're never going to sign a deal. And then everything that comes out of our side is we're close, but then talks completely go the wrong way. So I know that President Trump, just from listening to his comments, is getting frustrated. And I don't think this is going to go on longer one way or the other. I hope Iran comes at a table and just ends this with a peace agreement and a deal that basically U.S. has all the cards, so they're basically agreeing to whatever the U.S. wants. And that's really their only option at this point. Now, there have been reports that China has been giving them weapons. I don't know if that's true, but there have been reports of that. But just this morning, President Trump put out a post ahead of the meetings, and I'll read it. It says, "To all Iranian leaders who will soon be in negotiations with my representatives, I would greatly appreciate the release of these women. I am sure that they will respect the fact that you did so. Please do them no harm. Would be a great start to our negotiations. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump." So these women are arrested. As you know, any protester was beaten and killed. Sometimes the women are raped and killed for being part of a protest. But you never know if these women are even alive. I hope they are. I hope they're going to be released. And we'll see if Iran is really going to have some talks. If they don't release these prisoners, then it seems to me like, how do you even negotiate a deal when they're about to kill 6 Iranian women for protesting? They've already killed others protesting. So this should be another curveball Trump threw at them, probably to test the waters and see if they're even going to start the negotiations. But what a shame. These poor women had their whole lives out of them, and hopefully they are alive still. Secondly, hopefully Iran releases them. But one final thing about Iran, there's a lot of talk about Trump's turned his back on his supporters, like getting into this, and there's an argument for that. I just think that if all those pundits that were on his side since 2015, campaigning for him since 2015, I wonder what they're going to say if he gets a deal with them or he does something that no president's done in 47 years. How are they going to react to that? Are they going to go back to being a supporter of him, or are they completely done? I know he's attacked some of them, and it doesn't look like they're coming back on his team anymore. But bottom line is, it's all about the policies. It's all about getting done when he said he's going to get done. I'm only a fan of this war if Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. And that there's no ramifications of this 20 years down the road where we're going back with negotiations and all this. It seems like the last, my whole lifetime's been deals with Iran. And you have to ask yourself, the deals just keep getting taken away, put back in place, new deal. It's like, I don't know how this is really going to unfold, but I hope it ends quick. And I hope Iran takes the deal that we offered them. If they don't, I'm going to continue to update you on this moving news on the Iranian girls that are set to be executed, 8 of them. President Trump, obviously, as I just showed you, put out that message that negotiations with Iran will start off on a real good foot if he releases these 8 women and doesn't let them be executed. And as I'm finishing the first segment, he puts out a post saying that Iran has agreed to release 4 of the 8 women immediately. They will not be executed. And the other 4 will only have to serve a month in jail. Now, I mean, that's great. Trump was able to get these women out. And hopefully Iran follows through on the other 4 and releases them in a month. You never know with Iran. It's always reports that they say one thing, do another, but they obviously communicated this to the Trump team, and these women, 4 of them are released, according to President Trump, and the other 4 will serve a month in jail in Iran. We'll be back with our next segment. Podcasters, influencers, basically people that were America first. The argument now is, what is America first? And it seems like they're all arguing about, are the things that are going on America first? But I want to remind everybody, especially the podcasters out there that have way bigger shows than I do, that this is doing a lot of harm. What do I mean by that? You got one person attacking one person for trying to solve the Charlie Kirk murder, and then you have another group infighting about the Iran war, how this isn't what you voted for. And it's good to have all your opinions, but it seems like they're calling each other out a lot. And I just don't understand why. I mean, you do your show. You say your beliefs. You don't have to bash somebody else that may disagree with your belief or may have commented that maybe you did something that was wrong or said something that was wrong. A lot of that's going on. I don't know why. I have my own personal opinions. Money, influence, just people that want clicks, want likes. That's all they want. And they really were never America first. They ran on the campaign of America first. And then they saw that there's another level of money to be made being anti-America first. So I think everybody should just cool it down. If you look at, and I might do an episode on this, there's so many things going around, like Trump supporters are brainwashed and all that. I support most of Trump's policies. That's apparent. I had never met Donald Trump. I don't know Donald Trump. I can't love somebody I've never met. But I like his policies. Do I like everything he's done? No. Do I like everything he said? No. Do I like things he said? Yes. So we got to get away from, or start talking about what a supporter is. A supporter is somebody that's giving money to that person repeatedly. I would think that's the only way you could be a supporter. Just because you vote for someone doesn't mean you're a supporter, because you only had one choice or two choices, and I don't regret my choice at this point at all. I can go do a whole episode on all the things he's done that he said he was going to do in his first term, in his second term, or shortly in his second term. We got a ways to go. But if you look back on presidents, a lot of them didn't do anything they said. So you can hate his tweets, you can hate things he does, or you can, say Trump's a puppet of Israel, or Trump is, controlled the whole way, or whatever. But the bottom line is, just look at his policies from 2015 and look at his policies that he ran on in his, call it second, third term, whatever. And he's got a lot of them accomplished. And there's still a lot more to go. Now, does this Iran war hurt his poll numbers? Absolutely. Does gas prices hurt his numbers? Absolutely. Anytime you send military, you're really playing with fire in the polls. One day, we'll find out what this was all about. And hopefully one day, we'll look back and say it was a good thing for the Iranian people and for our country. At this point, you just got to have faith. In my opinion, Trump's a huge poll number guy. And when he sees something hurting his polls, he wants to make sure it doesn't. So I think we just got to sit back, let the dust settle. And if there are gripes against him, we have voices. We can say, this is what you said. Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? And hold him accountable just like you'd hold any other politician accountable. Some of the things I want to see is people that go to jail that committed treason against the country, people that stole money from the taxpayers all over the country, especially in California, Minnesota, Illinois, go to jail. Absolutely. Do I want to see people that talked about the Russia hoax the minute he got elected, conspired together to make it up with zero evidence, zero proof? Do I want them to go to jail? Yeah, they put the country through something that didn't exist, and it cost taxpayers money. Do I like Donald Trump's COVID policies? Do I like Operation Warp Speed? Anybody that knows me will give you a big fat no on that. It's just, there's things that you're never going to love anything that somebody does, ever, when they're a politician or a president. But if they can knock out 80% of what they said they're going to do, that's an unbelievable percentage. And compared to other politicians, you're always in the 10 percentiles, 20 percentiles. There's some faction of what they said they did. It actually was the other end of the spectrum. Just, put a big birthday candles on it, and you make you think it is what it is. I mean, look at Obamacare. Everybody thought everyone was going to get free insurance. And it's a disaster, absolute disaster. And the healthcare before that was a disaster, but it wasn't this expensive. I mean, you look at somebody trying to get insurance, the deductibles are so high. And are there some things that sounded good? Yeah. But when you look at drugs and how they are priced in other countries, we pay all the money for the drugs, and the other countries pay peanuts to what we pay. So that can be fixed very easily. And basically, America's is getting robbed by the drug companies because we're the only ones that will pay that type of money. And if the other countries, which is what Trump was working on before the war started, if the other countries would just put in 2% more, call it, it's probably a little more, but not much, 5% more, all the countries, especially the ones in the NATO, drug prices will come way down in America. That's just one way of doing it. So we'll see all these things that he said he was going to do. Give him his 4 years. Could I be wrong? Yeah. Could, other people that are infighting be 100% right? Maybe. But I really look at the people that are fighting and look at the people that aren't. Look at the people that don't trash other people's names in their podcast because they want clicks, likes, and more viewers than them. They want to climb that podcast list. Look at the people that say that we're wrong about something. And they correct themselves. Also look at the people that sometimes get attacked and they never attack anybody else. I think that's your best bet for starting to listen to somebody that's going to give you the best information. Whether that be me or somebody else, just look at what they said and what's been happening. But that's my take on the podcast Infighting and America First Infighting. We have to figure out what America First is, number one, and let this war in Iran play out. And if it plays out how they're saying it will, I know it's been over a month. I know this started early March. I know it's April 22nd or whatever, but we're not done with this yet. And we'll see what happens. I don't think it's going to be, again, an Afghanistan or a Iraq war. I just don't think it's going to be that. But if it turns out to be, then I was wrong. I don't see any way that would happen. We'll be back with our next segment. I'm going to talk about the 11 scientists currently in the headlines. 6 are dead, 5 are missing. Before I break down the 5 who vanished, you need to know that the deaths of the 6 are extremely strange. Some don't even have autopsies, and it gets even more bizarre once you hear about the 5 who are missing. I'll explain how these 5 that are missing are tied together and how they all vanished under extremely similar circumstances. Let's start with General McCaslin. He commanded the Air Force Research Lab. He disappeared in less than an hour. He was at home. A repairman saw him. So did his wife. His wife left for a hair appointment, came back about an hour later, little after 12 p.m., and he was gone. He left on foot, no phone, no watch, no tracking devices. He even left behind his prescription glasses. The only things he took were his hiking boots and a .38. Shortly after, a gray Air Force sweatshirt was found about a mile away. but any identifying details were gone. Cadaver dogs are brought in, nothing. It's if he like just vanished out of thin air. Now the second missing scientist, Anthony Chavez, he reportedly answered to General McCaslin. No coincidence there. McCaslin was a high-ranking official. Chavez worked at a critical nuclear research site called DART, a dual-access radiographic hydrodynamic test facility. Super sensitive, highly sensitive work. Chavez leaves his home near Los Alamos on foot, just like McCaslin. He leaves behind his phone, wallet, keys, even his cigarettes. He's never seen again. Cadaver dogs were deployed, and again, nothing. Number 3, Stephen Garcia. This man built nuclear components for the Air Force Research Lab, supplying up to 80% of the non-nuclear components used in nuclear weapons systems. Garcia disappeared in Albuquerque, New Mexico. A patterning is forming here. Just like the others, he leaves on foot, wallet, keys, car, all left behind. He only takes a handgun. It's almost as if they were all called and told to leave, and to leave without any identification. Number 4, Melissa Callesis, a mother. She drops off a Subway sandwich for her daughter at school in the middle of the day. There's no way this looks like someone planning to disappear. She's last seen on surveillance just about after 2 p.m., heading eastbound on Road 518. People who know her say she never went for walks in the heart of the afternoon in heat. And just like the first 3, she leaves everything behind: her keys, wallet, purse, her work phone, and even her personal phone. And here's the part that stands out. Both phones were factory reset before she left. Where did she work? Los Alamos, the same place as Chavez. Finally, number 5, Monica Riza, a space engineer. She developed a super alloy used in rocket technology. And here's a key connection. General McCaslin, the first person I mentioned, helped fund her work. Here's how she vanished. She was hiking in a national forest with friends. They were ahead of her. They turned around. She smiled at them. They turned back for just a few minutes, and then she was gone. A massive search followed, and just like the others, nothing. That's 11 scientists, 6 dead, 5 missing. All 5 missing cases follow the same pattern, and they're all connected. My take, they were contacted for sure, and they left. Some of the theories about why they vanished. Let's go with the obvious theory number 1 that most people have pointed to. The CIA killed these 11 scientists, and the 5 just haven't been found yet. Obviously, that's a huge statement to say, a huge thing to prove. I don't think you're a conspiracy theorist to think that that's a possibility. But again, that's very hard to prove. I hope it's not true. These people had the most classified information you can possibly imagine. Maybe some of them were going to divulge it. Maybe all of them were going to divulge their knowledge to somebody. The CIA took them out. And the 5 just haven't been found yet. And there's some that are already dead and have autopsies done. So that makes you wonder. I don't think you're reaching too far to have theory 1. Theory 2 is 6 or 7 of them are still alive, especially the 5. And they're working on a top secret national emergency type mission that's the protocol. You don't ask questions. You don't tell family. You don't tell anybody. You just take everything. You just leave. No phone, no nothing. Maybe some of these people had a CIA phone that their family didn't know about. That makes a lot of sense. That's why they left their phones behind. They were picked up by a car in a remote place. Something like that had to have happened if this was a mission they were going on. I know some people are going to laugh at that, but there's not much to go on here. It's either a theory number one or this theory I'm talking about now. The only other theory that it could be is hostile countries working against the United States kidnapped most of these people or killed them. Got all the information out of them they could and killed them. So those are the three circumstances that I can come up with. I'd love to hear yours. Feel free to comment and let me know what you think. I hope it's not number one. I don't want to live in a country that type of things happen to geniuses who are working for the government. I don't want to believe that happened. I'd rather believe that theory number two happened, and that's the theory that will explain a lot and makes sense. I think number three makes sense too. A hostile country or countries working together got these individuals to leave everything, maybe thinking they were talking to their own government and they weren't. Or there was a few bad individuals in our government working with other hostile countries that got these individuals and got the information out of them. Those are the only three things I can think of. This obviously wasn't random. The 5 missing all knew each other, all tied together. Big New Mexico thing. But the thing that's surprising me is that, like, people are talking about this. People are covering it, not just people like me, mainstream media. So it's very interesting that they're covering it. It also makes me think that maybe the CIA wasn't involved at all because the mainstream media is covering it. Or it's propaganda by the mainstream media. I just don't see that them reporting about it. I would say they just wouldn't report about it. So that's my take on it. I'm hoping it's number two. I hope it is, but they're investigating and hopefully we'll get the truth out of it. We'll be back with our next segment.
The bill AB 2624, why would you sign off on that? It's a direct violation of the First Amendment, and it makes it harder for people to expose fraud here.
We have Ledge Council. They check the constitutionality of all our bills as we're writing them. I work on fraud issues. You'd know that if you look at some of the work I did on the budget subcommittee.
Amazing. So Mia Bonta, her husband's the Attorney General of the Attorney General of California, and it was only until I exposed fraud that they actually cracked down on the fraud and made some arrests here, especially with the hospices. And do you know that if this bill were to pass, it'd make it illegal for someone to go after fraud, especially if it's based off of immigrants, for instance, the Armenians in California?
No, I think that that's a misinterpretation of the bill, but I'm happy to talk with you more about it. And fraud and investigations into fraud are something that's been happening for a very long time. The Attorney General handles those cases. This is an ongoing issue.
It's a little weird that the wife of the Attorney General, Mia Bonta, is now pushing this bill that literally goes against the First Amendment.
No, I actually don't. I don't think that this bill violates the First Amendment. I mean,
really?
that's the whole purpose. We have Ledge Council and Ledge attorneys that talk with us about this. Constitutionality is really important to the work.
So your bill criminalizes publication of images recorded in public. Do you believe the government has the right to punish journalists for filming in public space?
No, I think that is a complete misinterpretation of actually the piece of legislation.
That is not. That's literally what happened. Speaker Rivas, how are you doing? What do you think about the Stop Nick Shirley Act? AB 2624.
I don't know anything about it.
And do you think there's any conflict of interest there with Mia Bonta and her husband being the AG? That just shows you everything you need to know. These people won't even answer the question.
Treatment that these Democrat politicians are giving him. You can say he's a right side guy. He never says he is. He says he's completely neutral. Kid's only 24, maybe, give or take. And he's exposing so much fraud across the country. And they're just calling them names now. They have a bill that's going to be passed. They're trying to pass it where independent journalists like him could be fined up to $10,000 or $20,000. He's approached multiple politicians, and they're like, I don't even know about that bill you're talking about, and like they're literally one of the ones that signed it. I just don't know what to think anymore at this point. If you're a politician and somebody that's a citizen who's paying taxes, you're not. Politician's not paying taxes. He finds out that all this money's been stolen, and instead of investigating it, you write a bill to get rid of guys like Nick Shirley so they can't expose fraud. And then you start calling them names. I don't know about you, but that's an absolute red flag for me. If you don't want to catch the fraudsters, but you want to go after the guy exposing the fraud, that's all you need to see in my book. You know that these people that are either involved in it personally, know people that are involved in it, know the money launderers. Because why would you be against exposing this? Let's just say you didn't know anything. You're a California politician or a Minnesota politician or wherever else he's went, and you had nothing to do with anything. You had no idea this was even going on. Wouldn't you be thanking him? Or are you so caught up in me, and re-election that you're mad he caught it? You're mad that this information was given out to the public because it makes you look bad as a politician. That's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is they're probably involved in it. They knew it was going on and they were getting kickbacks the whole time. Now their money's gone because he's exposed it. So if you're left, right, center, whatever, I just laid out the two scenarios for a Democratic politician in these areas. They don't have a side to argue other than calling the kid names, not saying what he's reporting isn't true. They don't even talk about what he's reporting on. And then they try to pass a bill that bans Nick Shirley from even doing this. It's unbelievable. The writing's right on the wall. It's right in front of you. And there's so much more that he's going to uncover. And it seems like they just keep egging him on, pushing him harder, making him want to expose more. And what these people should be doing is getting rid of the fraud period. And each one of these cities should give them a key to the city for saving them all that taxpayer money, getting rid of all the fraudsters. But no, they attack him, the person exposing it. I want to cover this Ilhan Omar clerical error, if you want to call it that. According to her representatives, her accountant made a $30 million clerical error. So let that sink in just for a minute. All this time, they were reporting that she was worth 30 or 40 or 50 million, whatever it is. The winery out in California was claimed to be worth 30 some $million, whatever. She gained all that revenue in just one short period of time. And now she's saying it's all a clerical error. Nobody that's worth, according to her now, $80,000 makes a $30 million clerical error. Most of the politicians that have come out and explained how they report their assets and report their wealth, report their business transactions, all that, it's a pretty transparent reporting process. And it's almost impossible to make an error like this. So, that all being said, this is somebody just telling her, you just say it's a clerical error and we'll keep on figuring out how to get this to go away. But it's leading everyone down more rabbit holes because you got to find out, was she in cahoots with the fraudsters in Minnesota? Was she getting any type of kickback from that Somali fraud? You know, they got to be looking at that now. Also, the immigration fraud they're saying she committed, and it's come from the president's mouth, saying that she married her brother to come here. Other people have said that too. News organizations, multiple people. It's almost like, who hasn't said it? So it's come now to the point where she needs to resign. That's a start. But if she did commit immigration fraud, she needs to be deported and kicked out of Congress. She can't be running a state of our country when she's not even a citizen, allowing the fraud to occur in her area and her state. It's unacceptable. And I don't buy this $30 million clerical error at all. I think it's a way to try to deflect and back away from what's been going on for the last 3 years. But Ilhan Omar is definitely on her way out one way or the other. She's been nothing but a gaslighter. And here she is saying Trump committed real estate fraud by saying his Mar-a-Lago was worth more than it was. He got the loan, paid it all back in full, and his property was worth what he said. The banks that he used to finance it wanted to do more business with him, and they were looking at putting him in jail for that, trying to find a way to put him in jail for that. Now here she is making a $30 million clerical error. And it's like, no rules for me, but rules for everybody else. Here's another thing I want to add to this Ilhan Omar thing is she's supposed to be representing your state. Minnesotans, you really want a politician that can't even take care of their own finances, that makes a $30 million clerical error? What do you think she's doing with your money? What do you think she's doing to your state? So again, they got to get her out. And if she's not a citizen, they got to deport her. If she committed immigration fraud, they got to arrest her. If she committed other fraud, she needs to be held accountable. If she's done none of these things, she still needs to resign for making a $30 million clerical error. Because that doesn't give anybody confidence that you can manage a state when she can't even manage her own net worth. Absolutely ridiculous. We'll be back.
The Wily Wire segment where Brandon asks, "What the fuck is this?"
So this WTF is absolutely mind-blowing. Anybody knows the band Creedence and Clearwater? John Fogerty. He was on the Joe Rogan show and basically told the story about, I don't think he even knew it was the CIA from the clips, but maybe he did. But he told the story how he was lured to put all the band's money into a bank in the Bahamas, and the bank was checked out and it was legit by all the accountants in the band and close family members and, people that the band relied on and they used their entire career. So they put all their money in this bank in the Bahamas, and after a while, things started getting sketchy, and John Fogerty couldn't figure out how much money he had, and it just took forever to get any money if he needed it or wanted money. It just took a while to get it. So he said he wanted out. He goes to the, I guess his accountant to try to get the money out, the people that, got him to go to the bank or whatever. And he wasn't quite stern enough about getting out of the bank. So he decided, I better go back and point my finger at him, start yelling and say, I want my money out now. He tells the story, but it's wild. I'm going to roll the clip in a second. But they find out that the guy that runs the bank in the Bahamas died. And they shut the bank down and the whole band lost all their savings. But it turns out that the bank was fronted by the CIA and it was using the band's money for a operation that they were doing work in Cuba on. It just blew my mind when I heard this. But roll the clip of Joe Rogan show talking about this CIA taking the band's money.
Office, and I say, shit, we're going to have another meeting. Because even though I told him I want to get out of the plan, I didn't stand up like on the table and go, I'm ordering you and you get me out of the plan. I realized they could weasel some more time until I actually pointed. So the next week, I showed up and did that. I'm ordering you, get me out. Okay, out of the plan, right? Pretty quickly after that, a week or two, we hear that the bank has closed. There's a telegram that apparently was sent on Valentine's Day, and the bank president has died. He died in a sauna.
Whoa.
I've seen that movie, where Abbott and Costello, and the mob comes in and they're in those heat things that are up here, and the guy sticks a broom in the doors so you can't get out. And I mean, except that this was serious, and there will be no more withdrawals until this thing is understood.
Resolved, right.
A bank president dies, you don't close the Bank of America.
Right.
You still can go get your money. And so pretty quick after that, it all just disappeared in a puff of smoke.
They just stole the money.
Gone. Yep.
And it was the fucking CIA. That is crazy. That is so crazy.
So I did some research on it. I looked at two different AI searches. I grokked it, ChatGPT, looked it up on the internet, Wikipedia. It's all there. Still, it was hard to believe. Like, the CIA stole money from an American band. One of their songs is pretty controversial. Maybe that was the reason, but so more details on it is Castle Bank and Trust located in the Bahamas, was founded in 1962 by ex-CIA officer Paul Hellawell and used by the agency to funnel money for covert ops, including anti-Castro activities at Andros Island. CCR, including Fogarty, lost their savings when it collapsed in 1977. This is documented in Wikipedia, 1980 Washington Post reporting, and declassified CIA files. Fogarty described this tax scheme and sudden disappearance and of his money. So, all laughing aside, I mean, the fact that they were doing that in the 1960s and 70s makes you wonder what they're doing now. I hope that the CIA can focus on protecting us, not using a band to steal their inheritance. I've heard reports that the band got some of the money back, or I'm not sure, but it's just pretty unbelievable that something like this would occur in America. I know people laugh. There's so many black pillars out there that I don't know how you can't look at this and be blown away. An American music band gets lured into giving all their funds to a bank owned by a CIA agent, and he uses the money for covert ops. Unbelievable. But something really truly needs to be done. I don't know. Maybe I'm too hopeful, too positive thinking, but we got people in government that were supposed to fix all this. Hopefully they are. Maybe they are trying to without, the American people losing all trust in the CIA, FBI, whatever you have it. But some arrests are being made as we speak for some of the things that I talked about, and I'm going to cover that in my Friday episode. But again, you can't make this up. I want to play their song so bad right now on this out of this segment, but all these social media companies will pull it off Spotify and pull it off YouTube for using copyrighted music. But if you don't know who Creedence and Clearwater is, look them up. They're an old band. They had some great songs. We'll be back with our next segment. Vegas Knights and the whole Las Vegas sports scene and the future sports scene that's still coming. What an experience. What a place to watch a hockey game. I mean, I didn't know how into it the fans were. I've heard. I've never seen or witnessed it. I was at the All-Star game, NHL All-Star game. I did visit T-Mobile Arena, but I didn't get the full, Vegas Knights atmosphere. It wasn't a home game, let alone a playoff game. So first off, I'm just going to talk about the arena. The access that you have from numerous hotels. I was staying at the Aria. I connected through, 2 hotels, walked right out, and I'm right there in front of the stadium. The atmosphere was just unbelievable. They have a stage. They have multiple restaurants and bars all around the stadium. And then getting into the stadium, seeing how electric it was, I was blown away. Being from Chicago and watching all the Blackhawks Stanley Cups and being at all of them. This is, I hate to say it, it's at a different level. Just the opening of the game with the Knights coming out of the big Knight helmet, the music, the atmosphere, I was blown away. I thought it was going to be good, but not this good. So anybody that hasn't gone to a Vegas Knights game, whether you're a Knights fan or not, I highly recommend it. It is worth every dollar, and it was one of the best times I had at a hockey game, by far. Next thing I want to move on to, too, is the news that I heard. Obviously, you know, the Oakland A's are going to be the Vegas A's, and they're playing, I think, 6 games this year at the Vegas ballpark, which is basically a minor league stadium. But they're building an absolute gorgeous stadium. It's going to be probably just as good as the Vegas Knights atmosphere, where it's going to be right on the Strip. They're going to build tons of outside activities in a retractable roof. It's just going to be phenomenal. And that's why when I did the list of top major league teams that are worth the most, the A's were so high up because they know the market in Vegas is going to be so insane. Talk about a city that was just sports hungry. When they first got the Vegas Knights, they just gravitated to that team, and it's their like beloved Knights. I mean, it's always going to be their first team, but the A's are going to be welcomed with open arms, and I have a feeling that fans are going to embrace them like they did the Knights. Then obviously you got the Raiders. They're the beautiful stadium. The Super Bowl is going to come back to Vegas in, I think, 2028, because they just made so much money the last time the Super Bowl was in Vegas. And then to add on to that, they are in the midst of getting an NBA team, and they're building another arena for that, all on the Strip. And I guess they're also going to build a soccer stadium. So there's a lot of things going on there. It's a sports-hungry town. It definitely has the local presence to make any of these teams successful, not to mention the tourism that's there that's just going to add to the attendance and revenue and all that. So I'm really looking forward to catching an A's game in Vegas, and it's going to be one of the best moves Major League Baseball has ever made with that team going there. I know a lot of Oakland fans are upset. They should be. It's been their team forever, but you know, this is going to be off the charts for the MLB. We'll be back with our next segment. I want to talk about this hero teacher in Oklahoma. He was actually a principal of the school. If you haven't heard, it was last week a gunman came in. He just burst out of the office, jumped on the kid, tackled him, got the gun away, didn't hesitate 1 second. True hero, risked everything to save the kids and save other teachers in the school. And it was prom, and the kids all voted him prom king at the high school. So I thought it was a cool hats off to this brave hero that saved so many lives. But roll the clip of the hero principal being crowned the prom king. This is breaking news right now as I'm doing this podcast. Ilhan Omar, I've talked about her a lot on my show. She is accused now by Minnesota lawmakers of taking part in a fraud scandal in Minnesota that stole $250 million. More details are coming on this, and I'll update you as they come forward. But again, Ilhan Omar, accused by Minnesota lawmakers of stealing $250 million. That's a wrap for episode 28 of the Wiley Wire. We'll be back on Friday with our scheduled Friday episode. Follow us, like us, share us at the Wiley Wire. Thanks for listening. Thanks for staying wired. And we'll see you next time.
The Wiley Wire dives into sports, music, politics, health, and trending topics for entertainment, info, and education. Listener discretion advised. May include mature themes, explicit language, controversial views, or sensitive content. Not suitable for under 18 or all audiences. Parents, please supervise. All opinions from hosts, guests, and contributors are personal and don't reflect our official views. Information isn't guaranteed to be accurate. Do your own research and consult qualified professionals.